Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, it's 8 o'clock, and we are back with Retro Gaming Revival Live. How is everybody doing?
Oh, brilliant.
Including me.
Oh, yeah.
Including you.
That's a very jaunty intro that you guys have. It's
It
nice.
is.
I like it.
We figured it's got an
Thank
essence of supermarket sweep about it.
Very much so.
Excellent. So we have our stream this evening. We've got our usual reprobates from the regular panel. We have Mr. Blunners.
Hello, right?
We have Mr. Triangle Face Tim.
Hello.
We have Vanilla Dorbs.
Greetings.
And then we have the man, the legend, Dominik Diamond.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hey.
Not a triangle face
Right.
anymore. Had a slightly triangle face in the 90s. Now it's definitely more circular.
Haven't we all? My gels.
Your chows.
Why? I know the point is you're supposed to ask me questions, but why? How did triangle face come about?
The short answer is just my gamer tag. The long answer was I was making games, and I just wanted a name for like my game making stuff. And I liked Squaresoft at the time, was one of my favorite developers. I thought Square, I'll just triangle instead of a square, and instead of soft, I'll pick a different word. And I just looked across the table. I sat chatting to someone, and just looked at his face. I was like, triangle face, and then I could make a logo that's like a triangle with a face on it, and it just came from there.
Right.
So that was it, and it's just stuck since.
It's not exactly Spider-Man in terms of origin story, but that's okay.
It came from nothing basically, so it just stuck.
And now it's stuck with you forever. And here we are.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of stuff that we want to talk to you about, and we're very aware we don't want to keep you too long or over long. So we're gonna jump straight in with it. And this is the first thing that is coming up, and it's nothing to do with GamesMaster. It is purely the word shmup sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does. We listened to a podcast about it.
It does. Well, it says shumps here instead of shmups. Thereby,
We'll blame Dobbs. He did that. I told you.
I'm nervous. I got shaky fingers. I'm so nervous. That's what it is.
Were you the one that they called? Did they call you Vanilla Dobbs at the beginning there?
They do. Yeah.
Why vanilla?
Because we had a guest on, Gebs, who said, "Oh, I look like Vanilla Ice," and we met her in person, and she and her wife said I was actually better looking than Vanilla Ice. So I've taken that as a big compliment. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, that's fine. Interesting. Excellent. I just wondered if it was, you'd like to, only bathe in vanilla ice cream at some kind of skin thing.
Not with my body type.
No, that's good. That's great. Yes, shmups. So I hate that word. I hate a lot of things about modern games. I think that, and modern gaming, I think it's been hijacked by semi-literate screaming idiots and lazy people who like add names to things that don't need. They're called shoot-em-ups. It doesn't take a long time to say. So why would you condense that to shmups? You're not saving any time. And it's a very kind of ridiculous, kind of cuddly, fondant kind of word. So I wrote about that in, I think it was the first of these Dominik's little old purple column / podcast things that I started a few weeks ago about things that kind of like irk and annoy me about modern games compared to the glorious decade of the 90s. And so shmups is a horrible, silly word. Yeah.
It's a strange one.
I think my least favorite modern gaming word is freemium. Freemium games. I'm like, that free, but not really. If you know, freemium games is a term for a free game, but within app purchase.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like any game. It's like, it's free, but you can't actually get anywhere without paying like 50p to buy a better weapon. You have to buy something every few minutes.
Yeah, I think generally portmanteaus should be banned anyway. Anytime you take two words and try and squeeze them into one are bad. And freemium is the kind of thing that a David Brent type character has come up with in a focus meeting. Freemium screams focus meeting. So I hate that. And you're right, it's duplicitous. It's a con.
Yeah. Excellent. So, I mean, you've kind of introduced one of the topics there by talking about your podcast, which is of course Dominik's little old purple column.
Yes.
So, for people that maybe aren't aware that you have this podcast, tell us about how that came about.
It came about because I started a column for The Guardian about 6 months ago, and I really enjoyed it. And it seemed that I was mining a particular furrow that a lot of people could identify with, which is people like myself who loved games in the 90s and played a lot of games, and then had to get proper jobs and kind of didn't play as much as they used to. And then all of a sudden, when you try and get back into games today, you're like, what the hell has happened? It's all a little bit kind of confusing and bewildering and loud and fast and nasty and toxic and exploitative. So yeah, so the Guardian columns became this thing of me trying to make sense of the games that my kids play. They're all teenagers, and as a slightly bewildered, albeit legendary gaming figure. So yeah, and so the Guardian columns once a month, which is great, and I love it to bits. But I felt I was waking up every morning erect with words, and I needed to get them out somehow. And so I thought I would start a companion to the Guardian columns, not in any way affiliated or official with the Guardian, I have to say, because these are quite sweary. And so I really liked it, and it's like the if the Guardian columns are the like the number one son in the family who does really good at school and is in all the sports teams, then this is like the scrappy little brother to that. And so it's out every week and written. And what was great was, so I thought I would just write it, and it would be like Dominik's Big Purple column that I had in GamesMaster magazine in the 90s. But then when I looked into the Substack platform, which a lot of writers that I love are publishing under these days, I saw that they brought in an option where you could record it as well. And obviously, if on the page you're only getting, like, I would say, I don't know, you're probably getting like 17% of what Dominik Diamond has to offer on the page. The minute you raise that and you add in the audio and you add in the inflections and the delivery and the timings and whatnot, you're getting right up to 80. So every week they come out, every Thursday, 6:30 p.m., which was GamesMaster time back in the day. And it comes out in written form and audio form as well. So it's just confusing because I never know whether to call it a column or a podcast. So I still get a bit confused as to what it really is, whether it's a column you can listen to or a podcast you can read. It's one of those two.
You could dare to smash two words together and come up with
No, because then we're going freemium. No, I did talk about that. I did talk about that on it last week, actually. I said that, do I call it a podum or a callcast? Or stuff like that. And what's interesting is it is freemium. I've just realized this. That's horrible. It is a freemium product in that you get 750 to 1,000 words, which is about 10 to 12 minutes of audio a week free. And then there's the paid version, which is like, I said it was only going to be 2,000 to 2,500 words, but everyone so far has been like 4,000 because I've just got so much stuff that to talk about and write about and speak about and pontificate about.
Excellent. And the podcast follows that format from The Guardian, where you're sort of, like you said, navigating the newer sort of modern gaming world. And was there something that kind of drove you sort of back into modern gaming, where you kind of took a bit of a break from it?
Yeah, it was basically, and this was how the Guardian column came about. Was I've been sitting for a long time just playing FIFA. And that's it. That was it for like about 20 years. And because I now and again there'd be a big marquee role-playing game type thing that I would get into, like Witcher 3, Grand Theft Auto, things like that. But generally speaking, because I moved over to Canada in 2009, and I thought I was going to be retiring to a farm, but then I ran out of money, so I had to start again as a complete unknown in radio. I basically was Alan Partridge in CKBW, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, and then I ruthlessly clawed my way up to the top of the tree in Canadian radio. But that took a lot of time, so I didn't have time to play video games apart from FIFA. So that was all I did for like 20 years. And my kids kept saying to me, "Oh, you got to play Zelda Breath of the Wild, and you got to play this, you got to play The Last of Us." And I was like, "Don't you understand? I've got a successful radio career, and I'm in Division 5 of FIFA Rivals. You don't understand the pressure on me." So, and I kept getting more and more sick of FIFA. just the microtransactions, the cynical exploitation of players, the horrifically toxic online gaming community. This ridiculous thing as well, where people watch people open FIFA packs. I just don't get it. So I was like, right, I'm stopping it. And it really was literally like giving up, hard drugs, which, I have experience of as well. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. And I tried to actually come off FIFA a couple of years, and it would just always drag me back in. But then I thought, right, if I actually write a piece for the Guardian about this, then it'll make me stop. So I just, so that was it. I just got in touch with the Guardian with this idea, and Keza McDonald, who's the editor there, is just a superstar. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And then she said, look, I think there's something in this that you could kind of run with. So that was it. Yeah, that was it. And it's great. And it's brilliant, because what I've realized is that this might seem very strange coming from me, but see, video games, they're pretty fun, aren't they? They're pretty cool. Who knew?
We quite like chatting shit about them. It's it consumes a lot of my hours. It's video games are great.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about them again. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn. This is what I love about I kind of love and hate it. The subscription models that you get for on PlayStation and the Xbox now, the Netflixication of games. There's too much choice. You don't really give games enough of a chance. You kind of just toss them away after a few minutes, and that's a shame. But it means like on PlayStation now this month, you've got God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, two games that passed me by, and they're absolutely phenomenal. I wake up every morning, all I want to do is just run around shooting, kind of mechanical dinosaurs in a post-apocalyptic setting, aged 52 years old, which is I never thought I'd be in that situation. So it's good, and I'm also loving going back to the old stuff. I went back to play. I don't like browser-based emulators. They're always a hit and miss, but I find myself getting carried away. I spent an hour playing Horace Goes Skiing on a browser emulator the other week, and it was wonderful. The simplicity, the rhythm, and everything was still there. So it's it's good. I'm more excited about games now than I have been at any point since I made that now legendary closing link on GamesMaster in '97 or whenever it was.
Yeah, amazing. And you say you look like you're playing Horizon at the moment. Has there been any other sort of like really big standout games that you've played that are sort of some of the more modern ones that maybe your kids have said you've missed out? Have you ever any of those sort of ones?
Yeah, Last of Us was incredible. It was a great game. Last of Us 2, incredible, and really thought provoking and really ambitious in what it tried to do. I have 3 kids that are at assorted that are in assorted stages of sexuality, shall we say. And so I thought that was brilliant what they did with that in terms of, gender politics and whatnot. That's brilliant. So yeah, Hades as well. My kids aren't really hard kind of shoot 'em up kind of kids, because they're unfortunately they're sadly not nearly as competitive as I am. They're much more kind of contemplative, intuitive, intelligent beings that like to get kind of towed into role-playing games and whatnot, rather than angry games like me. So yeah, the one thing that I have, my son Charlie loves Skyrim. It's his favorite game of all time, and he still plays it. I don't know why he's still playing it, because we've got tons of other games. He keeps trying to lure me back into Skyrim, but I refuse, because I know how to make soup already. I don't need to spend hours in a video game trying to find ingredients to make soup while being chased by dragons. So
that's one game which I did go back to just because it came out in VR. And actually playing Skyrim in VR is brilliant, because you lose time in there. You're just like, I'm just living a second life in Skyrim, because you just you can go for a walk in the woods if you want, or just go hunting animals and making pelts for daggers, and you just get lost doing random chores.
But what you don't realize, Triangle Face, is that or is it Mr. Triangle Face? Can I just use this? Just
you can Triangle Face, Triangle Face, Mr. Whatever you like. Yeah.
That Triangle Face.
TF, even.
TF, yeah, TF.
See, because I live in Alberta in Canada, all that stuff, walking in the woods, hunting animals for pelts for knives, that's the shit we do all the time in Canada, basically. So that's I don't need to go to a video game even to do that. You know, we are all vociferous kind of hunter gatherers out here. None of your namby-pamby pampered British Isles existence. Oh, we need some meat. Oh, let's go to a shop and buy it in a vacuum pack. No, we're Canadians. We'll go out and kill it.
Yeah, super fresh. Yeah, kill it and skin it.
Yeah. Amazing. How do you find Canada? Do you like being there?
It's great. It's brilliant. I thoroughly recommend it to everybody out there. I kind of moved here, kind of slightly accidental. It was a kind of midlife crisis thing. And I moved here without any plan whatsoever to this bizarre part of Canada, Nova Scotia, which is the most wonderful, but it's almost like a mythical land. It's kind of like Skyrim, basically, and full of wonderful characters and crazy like magic spells around every corner. So yeah, but every part I've been there. I've been in Toronto. I've been in Calgary now, and wherever I go in Canada, people are lovely. People are so nice and they're so chilled and laid back, and it's a very liberal country. Except when it comes to, well, it was liberal until COVID vaccinations came in, and then the right wing people started crawling out from places. Don't you stick a vax in me? And it got a little bit hairy for a time. But then some of them died, you know, that's Darwinism for you. So,
it's like the vaccine, yeah, it's funny they got the vaccine.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, it's great. And what's good about Canada is Canada's massive. It's enormous, right? And every province in Canada is like an entirely different country. So if, like me, you have a historical propensity to either walking out of jobs if you're not happy, or getting fired from jobs if you have a boss who's an arsehole, then there's a lot of country to work in. So you can just kind of move around. I mean, it pisses your kids off, don't get me wrong. They have to move schools and they never have any friends. But, it's not about them, is it?
They speak different languages as well, because Montreal, Quebec.
That's right.
Yeah, French Canadian. Yeah.
And then it's weird because you have got so New Brunswick, which is kind of between Montreal and Nova Scotia. They have Canadian French is not the same as normal French, right? Especially in New Brunswick, because it's a mix of French and British. And I had a wonderful producer on a morning show once, Mark the French Bear. We called him Big Hairy Guy French. It was quite an easy nickname. It wasn't nearly as complex as Triangle Face, for example. So, and so he'd be speaking to his brother right back home, and he would say, va te faire le coffee, fuck you, bonsoir. And it would just be like mix of British and thing. Sorry if I shouldn't have swore there. But it was
you were past the watershed. Past the watershed.
No.
Go for it.
It was anecdotal. So yeah. So no, Canada's good, and it's a beautiful country. Like I used to like climbing mountains in Scotland, and where I am now in Alberta, we're in the Rocky Mountains. So I spend most summers up assorted mountains. And the older that I get, the less and the more tired I get, the less I care about dying. So I do quite ridiculous mountains that I really shouldn't do, and because I like hiking on my own. And so I quite often you will find me literally hanging off the edge of a cliff one-handed. Not just go like, well, it's been all right. It's been a laugh. And so yeah, it's a great country. Everyone should come here and live. Every single person, just come here. Leave Britain now.
I like to go to Calgary to see the Hart House. The Hart family.
Yes, of course, for wrestling fans, yeah.
Yes,
this is the epicenter, the absolute epicenter of world wrestling here. And the thing is, they're massive all around town. They're just like, they're absolutely massive. You can't, if you ever, you went to the top of a mountain in the Rockies and looked down, you would see a massive crowd in Calgary following one member of the Hart family.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah. Well, you've sold that to us, so we'll be on the next plane to Canada, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent. Blunners has been.
Yeah.
That's it, local knowledge.
Where have you been, Blunners? Where about in Canada did you?
We're family from Toronto.
Right.
So, but bless her, she passed away, so we went back. So,
She passed away.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
Wow.
Way to put
Right.
it down on
Yeah.
the conversation.
It's all right. We'll pull it back in. So before we jump into the era of GamesMaster that you were a part of, and that very special era of gaming, I think to most of us, we wanted to ask if you had seen the new GamesMaster, or
No.
You haven't?
Nope, not 1 minute.
Nope.
Had you been contacted at all about it when it was coming out? Did they get in contact with you at all and say they were looking to do it, or have conversations around it?
I was contacted by what seems like 50 million fans of the original GamesMaster every day for a year. And the questions were, are you involved? And then why were you not involved? Basically.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people get in touch with me, not the people who own the rights.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous, really. Why did they not contact you? Because I'm sure it was Dave Perry that said that you should have been the new GamesMaster, which would have been
maybe
yes,
maybe no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think his pitch is like, if you became the GamesMaster, then the presenter you bring on is the more sort of posh and proper presenter, and you flip the dynamic between the GamesMaster and the presenter. I think that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, it could have been, or you just don't bring it back at all. You know, I think it's, you know what, it's weird. There's a lot. Okay, so there's two reasons I can't say too much. Is that one, there's legal things, so you can read from that obviously, you know, there may have been some level of contact, shall we say. But also I have gone into a lot of detail with this, with Rick Henderson, who you've had on for his podcast, and I recorded it weeks ago with him, but he's such a lazy twat. He's not finished it or edited it yet, and I go into a lot of detail there, so I don't really want to piss all over Rick's kind of chips.
Not at all.
No, do you know what? Listen. What I can tell you is that obviously, you know, we wrote GamesMaster: The Oral History. We couldn't do that without the rights, so we had to get in touch with the rights holders about that. So, you know, it's not like they could say, oh, you know what, we thought Dominik Diamond was dead. No, you literally sent an email to me so I can write this book, which melted Kickstarter because it's so popular. And and then we didn't really hear a lot back from them. And then I got a message from Rab Florence, who I love to bits, who I've known for a long time. And he said, he's like, I've just been asked to go in audition for the GamesMaster reboot. Why are you not doing it? And I was like, because they didn't ask. So I made the decision that I wasn't going to watch any of it, because I like Rab. I've got a lot of respect for Rab. He's a phenomenally talented guy. He's a good guy. He really is one of life's good guys. And I didn't want to be in a position where people would say to me, what do you think about it? And if I didn't like it, or if anything I said could be misconstrued, and be perceived as against Rab, or hampering Rab's chances, and I didn't want to do it. So I honestly, literally saw nothing. I mean, I know it didn't do great ratings wise and everything. I didn't get a lot of people watching it. I mean, obviously, I still get inboxes full of people saying what they didn't like about it. But I gathered it was okay. A lot of people said, it was all right.
Yeah. Well, it's quite a sensitive subject with me. I'm going to bore you with the story. Basically, we had Alex Very on May last year, and I pitched an idea to him for a new show where it's sort of like the Osbournes. So he's a family man. He's got a couple of kids, married, blah, 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 blah. And he'll have a son called Little Lad Larry.
Right.
So I was sitting there, minding my own business, watching the new GamesMaster. And then he comes out. So I did this massive pop, massive cheer. And he comes out with his son, who they've called Little Lad Larry. And I'm like, hang on a minute. They've not given me a credit for it. They've not given me a writing credit.
So they had Alex Barry. So Alex was on as Big Boy Barry, and then he had with a kid.
Yeah. And I've not got a writing. I've not even got a thank you. Special thanks. Not even got that.
But he never appeared on GamesMaster as Big Boy Barry.
No, he's Big Boy Barry on Games World, wasn't he? He was a contestant on GamesMaster.
Couldn't even get that right.
Yeah.
Jesus. See, I'm sorry. and it's not, like I say, love her up to bits, but at some level, at some high level, whoever was in charge of this was an idiot. Sorry, was actually a complete fucking idiot. So that's just, to do stuff like that is just, it's daft. But thank you for shitting on the legacy of one of what was an untarnished show from the 90s. So great, well done, money guys, well done, Suits.
We won't ask you too much more about it because, like you say, you've got a podcast with Rick coming up, which we're obviously we're big fans of Rick's. We really enjoy his podcast, and we'll very much look forward to all the juicy bits that you've divulged to him and see what can come out from that.
You'll probably cut them all out because he does that pocket lint. He's all quite corporate anyway, Rick. He doesn't want to stop getting all those free flat screen tellies. He'll probably cut all the interesting stuff out of it. I literally spoke to Rick for about, I'm not kidding, it was about 2 hours. And it was great because, we were really good friends back in the day, but I'm really terrible at keeping in touch with people. But it was fantastic. And I love talking to Rick because he was one of my best mates. And so I can't even remember. At times I forgot that he was recording it. So I think I was very indiscreet. But yeah, the reason it's probably taken so long is he's cutting out anything that might be remotely controversial.
We'll have to touch base with you once it's up and see after you've heard it and ask you, what is it as complete as it could be? Because I'm intrigued as hell now. That's it. I'm hooked in and I need to know.
So
he's not announced. He announced on Twitter that he's got a very special guest. But
shit! He's not even said it's me yet.
So that's an exclusive, everyone, an exclusive. So I did wonder. I thought to myself, I wonder if that's Dominik Diamond, and I nearly commented, but I won't do. But exclusive, everyone.
The problem is though, it's not that exclusive now because I'm trying to publicise the new level of Purple Column so much. By the time Rick finishes, it'll be this exclusive. Oh fuck, he was on that other thing the other week, and he was on this thing.
Awesome. You briefly mentioned there as well, just so it's something we do need to bring up as well, which is GamesMaster, the oral history. What is it that got you into thinking this is what we need? Because I think a lot of people, as you said, Kickstarter went into meltdown, and a lot of people feel like we need this. But what was it? What was it that gave you that sort of fire to write about GamesMaster?
Well, two things. One, that Jack Templeton came up with the idea. He was the original GamesMaster super fan, first guy that ever had a website about the show, and I've kept in touch with him over the years. And it was his idea. He wanted to do something to mark the 30th anniversary of the show, and fun enough, we did. We spoke about doing, bringing the show back in some form that we could do without having the rights and everything. And then and he was like, "No, listen, let's do this book." And I was it was at a good time because I did Twitch. But so basically, I came out here and I did radio, and I started at the bottom and I got right to the top, and then I was going to say I fell off the top, but I didn't. I got pushed off the top by an arsehole boss that I had, which was a little bit irritating. But by that point, I'd saved the radio station that I was paid to rescue, so they had to pay me a shitload of money, and which was fine. I didn't have to work with him anymore. And so after I spent all that money, and then I was like, do I want to go back into radio? Not sure. Let's try this Twitch thing. There was a guy, a Canadian radio boss who'd moved to America, and he was really into getting all these radio people into Twitch. So I started doing that through his company, and I liked parts of it, but it's really difficult when you go from doing like mainstream media, whether that's TV or radio, and you go into the world of streaming or podcasts, and you have to suddenly do all the stuff yourself. It's really hard. And I've got so much respect for you guys and streamers who do all that technical side. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. All that side of it. I directed briefly on GamesMaster. I produced GamesMaster briefly, but I'm just a word guy. I'm about words and saying those words out loud. I'm not interested in camera angles and anything like that at all. I'd much rather have someone talented do that so I can just concentrate on the words. So I stopped Twitch. And I was like, I was thinking about stopping Twitch. And then Jack said, why don't we do this book? And I'm like, yes, I can get some money and I can stop Twitch. So that was why we did the book. And it turned out really good insofar as I I had a couple of my kids had some health challenges, so they needed it was good to have a parent at home. So I kind of wrote that book, and because of having Jack as an editor who kind of pushed me to go deeper and deeper, and it's a really phenomenal story of the show in front of him, behind the scenes, with lots of great revelations and things like what I was actually going through as a young human being, to go from being a complete unknown to being ridiculously famous in the space of a couple of months at the age of like 21, 22, and how it sent me completely mad, utterly mad. And so I was really, having written in one way, shape or form for all my life under different guises, I was like, do you know what? I want to write more. So I wrote another book as a result of that, and it was a novel this time. And so then I got me a literary agent in London. He's trying to sell that just now. So yeah, so it kind of made me just want to just kind of write stuff. So I was very grateful to Jack and very grateful to the book for deciding that at the age of 52 that I want to be a writer when I grow up. It seems a bit old to make that decision, but
amazing.
But
and I must admit, the book is available now, isn't it?
Not quite yet.
October.
So this is where it gets a bit complicated.
Okay.
So there's been global supply chain pish with COVID and all that, means that there's a bit of a delay. So I think the latest one is we're hoping to get it out to the Kickstarter funders in August. I know that it is available. So that's the posh hardback, silver foiled, art papered version. There is another version which is now on pre-order at Waterstones and W.H. Smith's and whatever, which is it's not slightly inferior. I mean, it's a step down from the quality of that. But I don't get any money from that. Right, you can buy it and good luck to you. But see all these people, I hear from so many of them now. Oh, two things. They'll say, "Yeah, I've just ordered your GamesMaster book," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's great. Doesn't help me at all. I don't get any money, but thanks." Right? Wow. Where were you a year ago? Where were you a year ago in the Kickstarter campaign? And the worst thing is, people who say, "Oh, I wish I'd known about the GamesMaster book." I'm like, I'm sorry. There was a week when it was like the #1 trending thing on everybody knew about it. Everybody that cared knew about it. So you come to me and I go, "Oh yeah, I don't really. I'm a massive. Oh, I'm such a massive fan of the show, but I didn't know about the Kickstarter." No, I'm terribly sorry. That doesn't make sense. There's two parts of that sentence. So you can pre-order the book. I might at some stage have some copies that I can tart up and sign myself, but I don't want to say wait for that because I don't know if that's going to happen because I'm in Canada and the publisher's in Spain.
Right.
Oh wow! It's got to go like there, and then back there.
It's I don't know. I did just get what's really interesting is what's really cool. So I just got a massive package. Hey, 90s gag. Yesterday that was sent from the publisher, and the way that they do it is it's a way that I'm going to sign all the books without having to send all the books over. So I'm about to get tore into that, but it's been very interesting how we're managing to pull that off. There you go, another 90s gag. 2 in 1 sentence. But the book's amazing. The book's incredible, and I'm so glad that we had so many people contributing from every level that was on the show, from celebrities that were on to producers, directors, researchers, and everyone, and even 2 people who might not have wanted to comment, Dave for obvious reasons, and Dexter Fletcher, most importantly, who, thanks to the delays, we got Dexter. We originally couldn't get him. We tried for a long time to get Dexter, and I even at one point I wrote, I'd never met Dexter. I wrote him a letter, and I said, "Look, I just want you to know, I'd love to have you in this book. You've no idea how highly thought of you were by the production team and everybody's testimony of season 3. The stuff on season 3 is my favorite bit in the book because it's people saying how much they loved working with Dexter, what a great guy he was, but what an almighty shit show it was behind the scenes. Everything was literally falling apart, and this poor guy had to carry the can, because if you're the presenter, you carry the can. So, and I just said to him, "Listen, you're GamesMaster family, man. You're part of the family, and I would love you to, if you can, I'd love you to." And he did. So Dexter's in the book, which is just amazing.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. Wow.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm so excited for it to come out, and I think we all are, and I think everyone in the chat and everyone who's going to be watching this after it's streamed is just so excited, because it's to hear you talk about GamesMaster is I think what a lot of people like to hear, because like you say, you were the leading man, you were the presenter, and everyone always likes to hear about the nostalgic eras of their, or nostalgic part of their life, which GamesMaster was for a lot of people. I'm lucky enough that I get to relive that nostalgia with my kids now, and we get to rewatch GamesMaster on YouTube in the most god awful quality that you can imagine. It's like being streamed on a potato. And
the old pay-per-views.
Exactly. We'll come to it in a minute. We're going to sort of talk a little bit about some of our favorite bits and ask you some stuff around it. But
I like the idea of streaming stuff on a potato, though. I like suddenly that's piqued my attention. I like it's a variety of root vegetables. I like that.
But as long as Nintendo only gets a writing credit, well, we're happy.
Dobbs is so bitter about that GamesMaster.
To say he doesn't bring it up much would be an absolute lie. Yeah,
what about once a day, maybe twice a day.
Do you know what? But Dobbs, I'm really glad, and I'm happy, because like they always say walk a mile in someone else's shoes, and then you can reevaluate your own life. And there was me thinking that I'd been hard done by, as the guy who wrote, presented, came up with all the ideas, single-handedly made the show one of the biggest television successes of the 90s. And that one time they tried to do a series without me was a disaster, and they had to bring me back. For them to bring back my show without getting me involved and destroy the legacy of my show, I always thought that was me pretty hard done by. But then I hear about you, who came up with one tiny little fucking idea with Big Boy Barry that they have used, that probably nobody even remembers it. But you know what? That's good. I feel a lot better now.
They do, because I bring up quite a lot, so they do.
I thought I was hard done by, Dobbs, but no, you're the real tragic hero of this story.
I should get a T-shirt print, the tragic hero. Yeah.
What's good is that the next bundle of messages I get in my Twitter inbox saying, "Oh, that was terrible. That GamesMaster sucked because it didn't have you." And well, let me tell you about Dobbs. And they'll go, "What? The guy that looks like Vanilla Ice? Yeah, this guy."
Amazing. I'm sure. Amazing. I'm nearly over it. It's been I don't know, 9 months. So I'm nearly over it. I'm getting just to the top of the hill, and then I'll get over it. But
have you? I'm sorry, Dobbs. Have you only got one headphone on?
You know what? I have.
What do you think? You're flying a fucking helicopter?
Well, you know what? We normally have two, because I work with Ollie and we've got the same headset, but I've left it at work today, so I've had to borrow my wife's work one. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I'm hoping you weren't going to notice. That's why I'm sitting like this.
Turn the head to the side. That's a pro move, bud. Fair play. That's good.
Ultra professional we are.
Yeah. Didn't I say we are the most professional outfit you will come across?
100%.
No stone left unturned of us.
You could have actually wore a beret at a jaunty angle to cover that ear. That's what you could have got.
I should have ordered one. Should have got one from Amazon. It would have been here today.
There you go.
Maybe next time.
Right. Segueing nicely on from Dorbs in a beret, we will move on to obviously what was probably most of our favorite TV shows growing up, and that is, of course, GamesMaster, what we all first got introduced to you for. Before we dive into anything on that, though, I am, with your permission, of course, this is Dominik. One of my favorite segments on GamesMaster was in season 5. So I'm bringing something here called "Is the Internet Still Full of Cack?" And in the 20 minutes that we have left, Blunders, I know, had some connection issues, so he might have a bit of a hard time getting on this. What I want is Dorbs, Triangle Face, and Blunders is to come up with a website, and it has to be either the most amusing, the most silly, the funny, or something, as long as it's not porn, and present it to us at the end. And Dominik is gonna decide which one of you three has found the best website, and we're going to determine if the internet is still full of cack. And the winner will receive a screenshot of a GamesMaster golden joystick.
Pretty good.
Wow.
There we go.
That's a
Wow.
bit. That was Dean and Patsy, wasn't it, from EastEnders? I think they did that. Was it? Yeah.
It was, and again, it obviously it's of its time when you're looking at the websites now, but it just makes it so entertaining looking at it now, and you just see the the Prodigy video on like the size of a postage stamp, and it's it's amazing. And my kids now looking at like, why is it so small? Why is it taking so long? And you just think, oh, back in my day.
It's brilliant. I love the fact that I did literally say, no, this internet will never amount to anything. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. I'm more intrigued by how, just speaking as someone who may or may not happen to watch sporting streams online, I just find it amazing that you can find something on the internet that doesn't have an offer from someone who lives 1 kilometer away wanting a hot date in Calgary or wherever you are. So good luck to you on that, man.
So yes, you have precisely 19 minutes to come up with that. And Dominik, if you would be so kind as to judge the websites at the end, and we will present at some point another time a screenshot of a golden joystick for the winner.
That's good.
So GamesMaster, I think GamesMaster came around at a very specific period in gaming history. Really, it was as games were starting to get really popular. They were starting to become really, so I guess at the time, really advanced. Obviously, we were all kids, very much into gaming. We spoke to Dave Perry last year, and I think he kind of summed up the whole gaming movement, I guess, at that period as like punk rock. It was the people that were into it. It was their thing, and that I've kind of liked that sort of description of it. And yeah, games journalism in that specific era as well just looked like it was an absolute riot. It just looked like it was the best time to be in games journalism, because everything now is, it's all very slick, it's very clean, it's very polished, and that's fine, and it has its place. But I think 90s gaming, especially 90s gaming journalism, just encapsulates something which I don't think we'll ever see again, and that is just how much fucking fun it was to be a gamer.
Yeah, and I think I love the fact that you're seeing some of the old retro magazines coming back now in print form that you can hold in your hands. I'm just about to start a column with Sega Powered magazine, actually, and that's fantastic. And you're right. And what was great about it was they allowed the journalists to have massive personalities and actually to be stars. Everybody knew the names of, Julian Rigdale and Neil West and everyone like that, and Frank O'Connor, because it was such a great idea. Before that, I think it was really only NME and Smash Hits were probably the only other two magazines I could think of that actively made personalities out of the writers. I don't remember seeing Bird Watchers Monthly make a big thing about, oh yeah, this week, Frank Smith is going to be doing a great thing on Blue Tits, and I'm going to Frank with his, comedy picture. But I love that, and I love that kind of inset page that you would get in the magazines where it had the little cartoon pictures of all the writers and everything like that. And it was great. And we, and I obviously hung out a lot with them because we were at the same video game parties, and we had a lot of them as co-commentators. And what was brilliant was we were all so young. I mean, that's insane. It's like I've got a kid. My oldest kid is older than we were at that time. And we were getting flown out to California and places like that, and having these massive parties and free everything. And it was all to do with this hobby, the most exciting interactive leisure entertainment hobby that was ever created. So it wasn't like we were getting all this stuff, but we were writing and making TV shows about Siberian salt mines, it was, or raincoats or aggregate. It was just, it was just fantastic. It was great. So I love the fact that it's coming back, and I this is why the column and the podcast on Substack and the print magazines coming back. I feel that there's a great movement now of older dads like me that are saying, you know what, once more into the breach, let's dust it all off and let's do it again. And it's brilliant. I mean, it's unfortunately we're all going to realize it's actually not nearly as much fun now because we're old and beer is £8 a pint in London pubs. What?
At least.
We can't all go caning it because we have selfish, needy kids who are doing selfish things like, oh, I've got to go to college. Can I get some money? God, selfish. So yeah, but it was a great era, and it was brilliant. And all those guys were so talented. All those magazine writers and publishers were brilliant. And like I said, they were doing it like 21, 22 years old. That's insane.
Yeah, amazing, unbelievable.
And when I mean, especially as a kid, we would watch GamesMaster, and certainly myself, and you would just think, wow, this has got to be the best job in the world. And watching it back now as an adult, sometimes with my kids on a Saturday morning on YouTube, even now, I still look at that and just think that just looks like the best job in the world. So, I mean, was it the best job in the world?
It was, but it was the worst thing to happen, though, for that reason. And this is a recurring theme in the book, not just with me, but a lot of the producers and directors and researchers who all went on to do big things, massive. Like, I think our producer of our first series, Adam Wood, I think he produces that Gogglebox now, or he's something to do with it. But everybody says the same thing. It completely ruined us for the rest of our careers in the media, because we just expect, oh, it's all going to be like that. It's all just going to be a riot. It's all going to be playing in the sandbox. It's all going to be a case where we have a big boss like Jane Hewland, like we had, and she's like, okay, there you go, guys. I trust you. Do what you want. And it wasn't, and it isn't, unfortunately. And I've struggled a lot since GamesMaster. I think the reason that I've not done anything really, well, not anything that remotely kind of comes close to that, is it's the only time I was ever really given complete creative freedom, and the only time a lot of us were given creative freedom. So on the one hand, it was great because it was a laugh. You were just pissing around with your friends and having a laugh, and we're all really close. But it was also complete creative freedom, which you just so rarely get in any job.
Yeah. And I think that's always shone through with that show, is the fact that it is just the love and the passion is completely there when you get a good TV show, especially like a game show. Essentially, if it's got good writing and it's got good talent behind it, that does come through. And that always came through with GamesMaster. I think I know some people have season dips where they think, oh, this season's better than that, but for me, I think GamesMaster was always pretty consistent with that. Even towards the end, I still think it was a consistent show. It was great fun.
I mean, even towards the end.
Well, some shows dip.
What's that about, Ollie?
Some shows dip towards the end, don't they? You've got Game of Thrones. That last season was a bit.
But the difference between GamesMaster and Game of Thrones is that I wasn't some fat lazy bastard sitting there on my chins refusing to write the final series. Like I didn't give up like George R.R. Martin. I just sit there on my chins and my money doing nothing. No. I think that so it was interesting watching all the shows back for the book, because I didn't watch a lot of them when they went out, because I hate to look at myself. That's why I don't like doing television at all. I hate seeing myself. So, and I'm quite coruscating about series 2. And I mean, I hate series 2. Series 1, series 4 is actually technically awful. There's so many mistakes in series 4 when you look at them back. Series 5 was pretty good. Series 6 was phenomenal. Series 6 was absolutely tippity top. Series 7, I couldn't give a shit what people think about Series 7, because it was the best fun we ever had, because we told Channel 4 we weren't bringing it back. There's the now classic story about Channel 4 losing the email and scheduling us when we didn't even have a show ready. So the fact we managed to pull that off in 4 weeks is amazing. And as a result, we were just like, let's just make this for pure fun. And that's how we had people like Martin Mathers coming back. Let's just get everyone back. So, and that's why I smile more in that series than any other series, because I'm just like, this is just so much fun. No, there was no Game of Thrones style drop off.
Ollie, what are you on about?
Unbelievable.
He's talking about the new GamesMaster. He's talking about the newest series. He's counting that as the last series.
It's a compliment, isn't it? Even towards the end, it was consistent. That's a compliment.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's true. I apologize. Withdrawn, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think one of my favorite things as an adult rewatching GamesMaster, which you got a bit as a younger kid, some of the sort of innuendos and jokes, but definitely as an adult now watching it back, some of my favorite things are some of those innuendos that you managed to just, for want of a better term, squeeze in there. And were there any that you wrote at the time that you thought, I can't believe they're going to let me say this, or were there any that you wrote where they genuinely went, yeah, you can't say that?
Well, the great thing about double entendres is that you've always got that defense that I can say to you now, I honestly, genuinely don't know what you're talking about. That if you think there was something rude about it, then that's your filthy, disgusting, perverted mind. That, you know, if I happen to say that I am out on the deck and it's awash with semen, the salty spray splashing in my face, I can say, well, I'm sorry, I'm on an oil rig in the North Sea. There's obviously semen that have come on from a ship somewhere, and the salty spray splashing in my face is from the sea. So that's what the great thing is about double entendres. It's completely and utterly always 100% defensible. So you can't really pull something out at the last minute because it's just, I don't know what you're talking about. And that is honestly the defense that we always used whenever there was a complaint about that, was that I don't know what you're talking about. Amazing. And then they would say, well, what do you think it means? And then you're putting some, you know, older person in the position, you're putting some 55-year-old gran in the position of saying, well, actually, I thought it meant that there was a bloke's penis and it was ejaculating sperm. And they're not going to do that. If they do that, you just go, you're a sick fucking granny. You are just that, you know what? Was it the war? Was that what turned you? Was it that? So, so that's what was great about it. So there's nothing remotely that we ever had to cut out, or no, I can't remember one situation where, I mean, we were lucky that Channel 4 were pretty clueless, you know, that they just loved the success of the show, loved the money it was making, and we're just like, they didn't really understand it because it was video games, and TV people don't understand video games, so they're just like, we don't know what the hell this is, but fucking hell, it's working. Let's just leave them alone. So we were very lucky. Yeah,
just let you crack on with it if it's doing what they want it to do, and you're having fun doing it.
And the other thing as well is that that while I wrote everything, I never ever used an auto cue for at all. That's the thing that you get the words on the screen, because there's never anything on a computer. Nobody could ever check. It's just in my hands. Have you got this bit for the intro? Yep. Do you want me to? No, it's all right. I got it. Don't you worry. Roll the camera. So most of the time, it was only Johnny Finch, the producer, and in the first couple of series, Adam Wood and Cameron McAllister. They were the only ones that ever really knew what I was going to say before.
Mm. Wow. I think Dorbs wanted to ask something about. I mean, because wrestling goes over my head. I know all the other chaps for Retro Game Revival do like a bit of wrestling. So I've got in my notes here about Jim Duggan, Dorbs. Handing over to you.
Yeah, obviously, I was a massive fan of WWF back in the day. Who wasn't? Let's face it. But I remember you had Hacksaw Jim Duggan on, who, great guest. Don't get me wrong, but I liked him because he used to whack people with his 2x4, so that was obviously a bit of a bonus. But I've actually thought of an idea. So it's a shame that you didn't have IRS, who was the tax man,
right?
Owen R. Shyster, because obviously his promos were basically about tax cheats. So when like kids went up to the GamesMaster and said, "Oh, how do I get a cheat for Infinite Lives?" he could have popped out and said, "Not only are you tax cheats, you're also video game cheats."
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff doesn't write itself, does it?
It doesn't. You know what, Dobbs? I think I'm really heartened by you saying that, because knowing how upset you were at the alleged GamesMaster reboots theft of your brilliant little lad Larry idea, I can safely say they won't steal that one. So I think that's good. That's a really positive thing to take out of that.
Yeah. I'm taking it as a positive. I'll take it as a positive. But yeah, because I liked IRS because everyone's like booing him, but all he wants people to do is pay their fair share of tax. I didn't see a problem.
That's fine. And you know what? Maybe if one day we do a tax-based YouTube show, we can talk more about it.
Excellent.
Those will be right in line for it.
I think the internet's crying out for that, isn't it? A tax-based. It's got to be done.
We get our IRS on. I'm sure he'll give us some, some
Yeah.
some advice with his briefcase and his tie. He'll give us some good advice.
I mean, GamesMaster was littered with great guests. Some better than others. Some who were better at video games than others as well. And I can't help but think that there must have been some real personalities that must have come in as the celebrity guests. Were there any of them like particularly difficult to work with, or any stories around anyone in particular that isn't in your book that you can
No,
throw out?
all the stories are in the book, and I think that I feel I get to the stage now where, and I know this is a question everybody wants to hear, and that's fine. But I've been asked that question a lot of times now, that I get the naughty part of me just wants to make stuff up about people and just say things like, yeah, no, Patsy Palmer had the worst flatulence, but she didn't. She was lovely. She was absolutely brilliant, and I mean, and also, I think it's so, like, I used to always say, well, Mr. Motivator wasn't quite as motivated off camera as he was on camera. But then maybe we just had him on an off day, and it was great on camera. So I think that I have to say that, so at the same kind of just after GamesMaster, at the same time, I was doing a lot of sports stuff for the BBC on radio and TV, and I would interview a lot of footballers. And compared to what that is like, the celebrity guests on GamesMaster, even the footballers, were absolutely fantastic. I think we were very lucky because it was a very different thing that they were being asked to do. So it wasn't like going to a hotel junket for someone promoting a movie and you're the 20th interview they've done that day. It was genuinely a very different thing. They were quite excited to come on. It was fun for them. So I think that's why the celebrities were, as much as I would like to paint horror stories, the celebs were genuinely, they were fantastic. I loved it. I thought they were all great. They were all great fun.
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah,
excellent.
I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't go down the pub afterwards with Michael Fish hoovering up lines and whatever. That was quite a reserved relationship that we had, me and Michael Fish. But it was Michael Fish, he's an old weatherman. So.
Yeah, there's no hurricanes, no.
So if we were to go back to 7th of February 1992, which I believe is the first air date?
Sounds about right, yeah. Or maybe it was the 31st. But anyway, yeah. I should know this. I've just written a fucking book about it. So let's just say yes.
So we'll go back to that. We'll go back to that time now. Now knowing what you know about everything, is there anything you would do differently, or would you just run with it exactly as you did?
Like in terms of the show or in terms of my personal life? Because in terms of my personal life, I would, in the words of the Grange Hill anti-drug song, I would just say no. For an absolute fact, I would, I probably would just, I would lock my door and sit there and count my money instead of going out and spending it all on luxury restaurants
makes sense,
for myself and all my friends. So in terms of the show, I wouldn't change one single thing about the show, apart from I wouldn't have ended it, I think, because if we'd have hung on for another couple of years until this internet turned out to be not full of cack, we would have absolutely been global franchise billionaires, which would have been nice. But no, I don't think. I don't know. How could you change anything about the show? It was too crazy.
Would you get IRS on?
No, I don't think. I don't think I'd even get IRS on. In fact, I think I might actually. Do you know what? I would actually not have had one wrestler on.
Wow.
Right. And if someone said to me, "Do you know what? GamesMaster was great, but you never had any wrestlers on," I say, "Wow, okay, very complicated answer. Like, okay, in the future, I was going to appear on this YouTube thing, and this guy, I can't make him up. He had one headphone on, claimed he looked like Vanilla Ice." Like Vanilla Ice at all. So yeah, and he was going to ask me about IRS, and he was keep going to bang on about wrestlers. So I would have no wrestlers. I'd have a wrestler ban. You do know, you do know, Dobbs, and I don't mean to, like, I know, we've had a laugh at you, but I don't want to upset you too much. You know, it's not real.
What? What do you mean?
You know those fights. You know they're.
Yeah. What? No, I'm not having that. I don't. No,
do you remember that time? Remember that time Uri Geller came on GamesMaster and played a video game using only the power of his own mind?
God, yeah.
That was our tribute to the WWF.
Oh, I mean, that's what's great about GamesMaster is you can say that in a sentence. Do you remember that time we had Uri Geller on there to play a video game?
Uri Geller.
What other TV shows can say they've done that?
But the thing is, though, I honestly, he has, and I go into detail, he did something backstage that absolutely freaked me out.
Really?
Very difficult saying things like that, given what the horrible things that have happened in the last 10, 20 years. But no, I think Uri Geller is a genuine, like, psychic guy.
You reckon?
He's a mage.
Okay.
He's like a 7th level mage.
Okay. So we come to talk about GamesMaster, and we're going to walk away believing that Uri Geller's genuinely got magic powers.
So does Paul McKenna as well. And another psychic. We had them all on GamesMaster. Paul McKenna.
Paul McKenna. What happened? Yeah, I've not seen him for donkey's years. I don't know what he's
doing. There's a reason you don't. I'll never say a bad word about Paul McKenna.
Yeah.
He'll fuck your shit up.
You
won't even know. You'll be sitting there eating onions naked. You know it.
Right.
There you go, Richard Waller. Uri Geller is an absolute gentleman. There you go.
There you go. He is. Good old legend.
Very aware at the time, and we are almost at the end. I think Dobbs might have given you a bit of a heads up, and fortuitous that Mr. Waller is in the chat with us this evening, because this came about from our stream that we had with him. So hopefully Dobbs has given you a heads up on this. This is something we like to ask everyone that comes on the channel, and that is our little segment called Waller's Remasters, where people can pick up to 3 video games from the past that they think deserve either a remaster or a complete remake for a new generation of gamers.
Okay, first one is Horoscope Skiing from the ZX Spectrum, but I would like that updated with VR version, but not just the stupid Facebook Meta goggle things and everything. The one thing I do know is I do know that reboot was sponsored by Facebook Meta. What the worst, most wrong sponsor you could have ever had. A company that spreads disinformation about COVID vaccines and Nazi fucking right-wing talking points, and you have that with my show? What is wrong with you, you money-grabbing shits? Anyway, sorry. The cloak's...
It's all right. Let it out. It's all good.
Anyway, so yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so Horoscope Skiing, but not just a VR, but a full VR costume where you are dressed as Hungry Horace, just so you look even more ridiculous than you do currently playing virtual reality in a virtual reality headset. So yeah, Horoscope Skiing. The second one is Euro League Football, which people are going, oh, that's a bit of an obscure game. It was an obscure game, didn't sell many copies. It got very poorly reviewed. It was a turn of the millennium football game on the PC by Dynamic Software. And I'd like to bring that back because I'd like to redo my commentary that I did on the game because it wasn't very good. And in fact, I looked up the game today and I thought, do you know what? I wonder, was it as bad as I remembered? And there was actually a quote from Eurogamer, right? And it says, who chose Dominik Diamond to do all the match commentary? There is just no enthusiasm in his voice whatsoever. A commentator is supposed to carry the game along and spark your enthusiasm to do better. Half the time he sounds bored with it all, and at other times he's actually falling asleep. So yeah, so I'd like that to be done so I don't know what. I have to say that's the hardest thing in the world to do, is to record commentary for a football game, because you have to sit in a sound booth for like 2 weeks and you literally go, Beckham, Beckham for 5,000 footballers' names.
Oh.
And it was one of those things I always dreamed of doing, but it was the worst job ever. So yeah, I'd like that to come back so I can read you the commentary for that Eurogamer guy who didn't like it. And the third one is another Spectrum game. And fun enough, it was actually so we got both those games on the same day. They were the first two home computer games I ever played, Horoscope Skiing and Penetrator, which was a scramble copy of the old arcade game where you fly and shoot and drop bombs. And I would want that rebooted on every single system, Xbox, next gen Xbox, PlayStation, Steam Decks, Loki's, every single thing, just so people could just say Penetrator. I think it's a great word. I'm disappointed that more games haven't been called Penetrator. And I'd want Penetrator 2. Without a doubt. And yeah, so I like the name Penetrator.
Amazing.
I'd like to have that. I'd like that to come back.
Excellent choices.
Beautiful choices. Top picks.
Very good. Very good.
Right.
They're not really top picks at all, are they? You've just been polite.
I quite like the idea of penetrator now you've said it. It's a word that's repeating quite,
How did they ever come up? Because you know someone, I think it was Melbourne House or someone who made that, and they could have called it anything, shooting rocket, rocket glory, rocket man, planet fucker, whatever. We're gonna go Penetrator. How did they get that past? What?
Yeah, wow.
Brilliant.
That's what they're running with.
Yeah.
Right. So before we go, does everybody have at least a website that they would like to show to see if the internet is still full of CAG?
Yeah, hang on.
I do.
Yeah. Quickly.
Go on then, Mr. Triangle Face. You dive in there first.
I'm going to go first. Right. Let me share my screen.
I hope this is triangle based.
This is not a website as such, but someone I quite like on Twitter. He's called Obvious Plant. And he makes fake products and puts them on the shelves and takes pictures of them. So you got Apology Sock.
That is brilliant.
Got the heads have a pear. What luck? It's heads. You've got
that's brilliant.
A compass that always points towards beef. You've got a useless man, lazy, unwashed, just lies around eating chips. It carries on. You've got the death predictions. I'll scroll through. There's all different death predictions in a set. There you go. You select your death, and then some of my favourites. You've got Poor Music Editor, over 200 Boucher Wow Wows, an Arthur gun, which says "Do not toy, fun bargain, healthy when milk."
What's the name of that? What's the name of that?
It's Obvious Plant. Is the name of the chap. He's one of my favourite people on Twitter. He just posts. I get lost. Yeah, schoolwork first. Combination lock for the whole. Scent of corn man. Lover soap. Sensual corn scent. There's corn man. I could go on, but I'm not going to take any more time. But there you go. Okay. Obvious Plant on Twitter. Strong. One of my favourite things on the internet, I think.
Okay. Mr. Blunders looks like he's going to go old school. He's going to be showing it on his phone, I think.
Yeah, because otherwise my internet probably break out, but I might just have to show it there.
Hey, do you know what? That's interesting because see, with you just holding up that thing of the reboot, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. I think that's more people than initially watched that third episode of it. So fair play. No.
Brave man. Mr. Dorbs, go for it if you're going to share your screen.
I'm going to share my screen, but do you know what? I think Blunders, you stole my little idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh, funny that someone's stealing one of Dob's great ideas.
Yeah, see, I did have all 4. Yeah, that was going to be my one. But what I'm gonna, there's actually 2. I've been recommended one. Someone's actually sent me one, so I don't know if that's cheating, but I don't think it is. It's basically about it's a recommendation. This isn't my pick, but it's about the Austrian Allegro. So if you want to find out more information about that, it is Allegro Club International, I presume. Brilliant. But yeah, you can find out all about that.
And what is your actual pick?
My actual pick, this is going to sound a bit weird, but it's actually based on someone who was on GamesMaster.
Okay.
And it is a wrestler, and it's Marcus Bagwell. Marcus Bagwell, he's now retired, but now I think he's quit this job as well. But he's actually a gigolo.
Oh,
There you
you
go.
know what? He's a great looking man.
There you go.
He's like someone has shoved a straw up George Michael's arse and inflated him.
Yeah. So
He's
I don't-
very red.
he is very red. I'm a bit worried to click on these links. I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna click on those links. But yeah, he
No.
now is he was a gigolo, but he was on GamesMaster as well. So
And they're called Cowboys and Angels. That company was great.
yeah.
Fantastic.
I don't know
Wow.
if his gigolo career was very good.
What a choice.
But before we
What
go,
I'm
I know
supposed to pick a winner.
you
do,
are.
you've got to
Yeah.
pick a winner. Yes. Pick a winner, and they will receive
yep.
a screenshot of a GamesMaster Golden
Okay.
joystick.
So this is difficult. It's a difficult choice because, you know, I'm faced with some random gigolo guy, a disastrous reboot, or don't get me wrong, that guy, what was he called? Obvious Plant.
Obvious plant. Yeah.
It's funny, but you're kind of promoting Twitter that is also responsible
I did think
for
that was a risk. Did think that was a risk I was going to take.
more hate, nastiness, and rape gags and everything than anything else. So I feel I can't go with yours, Triangle Base, because I can't just take one apology sock. Does not make all the horrible
The apology
things
sock
about
does
Twitter
not
go
apologize
away.
enough for Twitter.
We're going to need a
that's
bigger
fair.
sock. Right? That's going to need an apology
I like the
sleeping
apologies.
bag
I'm gonna get one.
or something. So I have to say, and also because we've given him a bit of a hard time and he's deserved it, I have to go with Dobbs's Austin Allegro.
Yes.
So I think that's absolutely old school. I think that we are probably the only people talking on YouTube about Austin Allegros today as well. And so I think that's Mondo Austin Allegro. Brilliant.
Excellent. I can't take all the credit. I will name him Simon Nichols. He actually sent me that. So thanks very much. That's massively appreciated. He will be chuffed as well because he's a big fan of yours.
So that's kind of like you stealing someone else's idea. So karma,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I can only hear you from one thing that broke. Then I didn't hear what you said. But yeah, just before we go, Dominic, if I may, Ryan sadly can't be here tonight, so we said we will give him a shout out to you. So he's very, very upset he can't be here. So he has commented saying, "Awesome stream, guys." So
does he have is there like a sad story or reason? Is there a story?
He's the fifth dickhead of our group who's up in Nottingham on a training course at the moment. So he couldn't make it.
Drinking.
Right. What's he training for? Obviously not training to turn up for YouTube channel stuff.
No, I think Dorbs is sending him off on some sort of wrestling camp or something. It's
do some research.
Yeah.
So
I feel there's a horrible mystery thing about him now. There's obviously like he's some horrible reason why he can't make it. Or
well, I'm going to say because he was on a stream previously, but last year he did have surgery, and we said it was for hemorrhoids. So he may not be here because that may or may not have flared up again. So
Serious?
I think we'll probably just leave it at that, and move swiftly on. But but he did say to me, "Oh, make sure you give us a shout out." I was like, "Yeah, don't worry, mate, leave it with me." So hopefully he's happy with that.
Yeah, leaving it with Dorbs is sometimes a bit of a wild card, and I think you pulled the wild card out this evening.
Along with the hemorrhoids.
Along with the hemorrhoids, yes.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting? I'll give a little bit of trivia. This isn't even in the book. Kirk Ewing, legendary GamesMaster co-presenter and my best mate for many years. Genuinely, no word of a lie. We have always had sympathy hemorrhoids. It doesn't matter where we are. If one of us has a pile, the other one has a pile. And it's like the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Twin. We have literally twin arses.
Twin.
I am surprised that didn't make it into the book.
No, I only remember it because I spoke to Kirk yesterday, and he'd spent the weekend, but he had an ear infection, and the side of his neck swelled up like a football, and so that got us talking about. Oh, remember that time we used to have hemorrhoids at the same time, and I was really glad that my neck hadn't swelled out. So, yeah,
amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
There you
go. Right, Dominic, you've been an absolute fucking diamond. To coin the phrase, it's been absolutely wonderful to have you on. what essentially was, like I said, I keep calling us dickheads, but yeah, what was essentially 5 dickheads who just got bored in lockdown, who wanted to have a bash at getting on YouTube and chatting to people, has led us to want to speak to many people that have influenced us in the games world growing up. And we've had a few people from GamesMaster on, and the culmination of this was to always at some point see if we could get to speak to you. So we can't thank you enough for giving us your time, and just coming to chat to us. It's been an absolute delight. It really has.
Well done for your tenacity, because I know you've asked a couple of times, and I do that thing that I always do, which is like, oh no, I'm not talking about stuff just now, and then I say that, and then I say getting back in touch with me in another few months, and I hope that they go away, but you didn't, and you kept trying. So persistence pays off. Good for you. That's a lesson, an inspirational message to everyone there. Never give up.
No, never give up. No.
But sometimes, if you keep trying, you will get someone who desperately wants to plug the Dominik's little old purple column on Substack. Just hit me up on Twitter, or just Google Dominik Diamond Substack, and then it'll all work out.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's brilliant. But we really appreciate you making the time for us and giving us the date. And so just before we go, in honor of your podcast, we will sign off
before
by
we
saying,
do, Ollie.
Oh, dude. Go on.
I wasn't going to say this through. I was like really nervous, really embarrassed, but I thought, you know what, you've rinsed me enough. Why not? Let's go for it. But you have the honor of being in the same sort of class as Pamela Anderson, Erica Eleniak, who is the Under Siege 2 girl. Oh no, sorry, Under Siege girl jumps out the cake.
Yeah, Amazon.
Melinda Messenger, Joe Guest, and Anna Nicole Smith. So you have the honor of, when I was a teenager, you were on my bedroom wall. So
not the finish I was expecting there, thankfully. Wow. Yeah, but that's really bad, because I know why people have those ladies on their bedroom walls, and I know what they sometimes do while looking at those pictures. And now I'm like, out the corner of your eye, even I'm there, and you're like, oh, now did that put you off, or did that help you over the line? That's the thing. We'll never know.
Again, you broke up. I didn't quite hear that again. So all of them are fantastic actresses at one stage or another in their careers. And Joe Guest was on GamesMaster as well.
Yes, she was. She was lovely. I did a few things with Joe over the years. She's great. She was lovely girl. Lovely girl.
She's legend. Absolute legend.
So anyway, but before Dorbs' disturbing end to that there, we were going to go in honor of your podcast to finish off the stream and say bye to everyone. We'll sign off with keep it little, keep it old, and keep it purple.
Yes.
Dominik, thank you so much again. Thank you everyone in the chat who's watched live. This has been our culmination of our GamesMaster chat. So thank you so much, and we will see you all soon. So good night, everybody.
Good night. Take care.